Karema means a small hill, and Mwaro means welcome. Feel welcome. The Mwaro, like the one for him. Yeah. My name is Isaac Kamau. I'll be your teacher for the day. I'm hoping to, by the end of the day, to have shared information with all of us that hopefully will make a difference in your farming journey, right? So I'm hoping that will be the main goal for this. One aspect of this training is it is important to say whether you are a youth or you're not a youth. I know Jim is the only person who is above the youth age, but he told me he's youth at heart. So
I even look it.
Yes, he actually looks like a youth at heart. Eh? Your perspective about farming as a young person, and what you can plan in this journey in case you're going to take it, and the steps that you need to take for you to be successful in farming. So a bit of a background about myself. So I have a background in accounting, which I never practiced. But it's funny that I never practiced accounting. I ended up practicing farming immediately after campus. So then my farming journey began in 2014 when I started growing strawberries just down there. I'll show you the place. And then after 6 months of growing strawberry, I decided to shift to mushroom farming. So mushroom farming, you see the house, the muddy house that you saw at the entrance. So that's where I started off the first mushroom project. And it was actually the first mushroom project in this sub-county. So I'm really proud of doing that. But eventually I had to move the business closer to Nairobi, a place called Lower Kabete, if you guys know Lower Kabete. And Lower Kabete is where I actually met Jimmy, because he also comes from that place. He has a home next to where I used to grow mushrooms from. So, and the biggest reason why I moved from this place to Lower Kabete was to reduce damage on post-harvest damages that used to occur between the farm and the market in Westlands. So that's why I had to make a very quick decision on moving the mushroom farm from this place to Lower Kabete, which is pretty close to the market, 10-15 minutes. So even in terms of transport, costs came down, and the customer will get the product as fresh as it was harvested 2 hours earlier. Yeah. And so today we are also going to see some of those insights that I've been able to pick from my journey in mushrooms. After that, after growing mushrooms for about 4.5 years, I moved into PropTech, the affordable housing agenda. So I positioned myself with the previous government to actually scoop some opportunity in the affordable housing space. And then I did that before COVID-19, during COVID-19, and a bit after COVID-19, when I had to shift the business model. Initially, we used to offer co-living spaces. I'm sure you are familiar with co-living model, having traveled from Denmark to this place. So we did co-living spaces for young people, but because of COVID-19, we ended up closing down our project because there were a lot of cancellation. More people are not willing to share spaces by then. So we had to change that business model. But changing the business model for me was looking at the learnings from the industry, discovering the problems and the opportunity. So I identified that there is a gap in the way money is transacted between landlords and tenants. So I started a journey of building a digital wallet for landlords and tenants. Launching the digital wallet was quite a difficult thing because approval regulation from CBK is really tight. So we decided to pause it for a while, but lucky enough I ended up moving into another fintech startup that is dealing with the border riders at the moment. So we offer financial inclusion to border riders. And when I joined that, I had already started the project for hydro harvest, which you're going to see down there as we go through the farm. I started doing both. So both solution are fintech solution, but the markets are different. So it's an advantage that whatever I learned during the digital wallet build it up is actually helping me this next phase that I'm in. So we're also going to learn about those mistakes that we end up making through the journey, moving from different industry, and synergies or lessons that you can take from one industry to another. So we are going to learn all that today, and I'm hoping that I can open up some perspective in terms of partnership, collaboration that we could start thinking about by the end of the day. So that's a bit about myself. I would want to now open up the floor for all of us to introduce ourselves so that we know each other. And then I hope you all have pens and somewhere to write. Okay, perfect.
You can type in our phones.
It's okay. So we are going to start from my right, Lydia. So please introduce yourself.
I don't have much to say about myself, but I'm Lydia Ruth. I'm a farmer and I'm also a psychologist. I was recently done with school. And I've been farming all my life, and I'm here to learn about other aspects of farming, especially in the horticultural side.
Nice, thank you, Lydia. By the way, Lydia has been growing maize for all her life. She comes from the biggest county in maize growing, Washington. So she will also share lessons for growing maize for kids. So
my name is Yvonne Nyambura. I'm a youth. I recently finished Form 4 and feel most welcome. Here is our village, and thank you. Pleasure learning with you.
My name is Terry. Full name is Teresa Onami Wanjiku Onami. I've been thinking of venturing into farming. I haven't started yet. Yesterday I was in Kajiado County looking for farm to hire. We were thinking of doing onions. I hope we talk about onions. And then I'm also looking for farm in Kinango. That is where I come from. That's where my mom comes from. I have uncles who are doing strawberry farming, and it's doing really good. So I've been thinking about that one too. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to learn, and so thank you.
Good morning. I'm Titus Mwangi Gishuka. I've been in logistics, mostly deliveries, but I'm looking forward into getting into farming, especially cereals. Also got into a bit of livestock, but I'm looking for something very specific called gallstones. They're found in cows and goats. Those are the ones that are taken. And then into farming, looking forward to supply food into the city. So it's very important to know where the food is coming from and how it's being done, just for good ili watu waweze kufanya kazi vizuri. Yes.
So everyone in this meeting could potentially facilitate us for supply.
Yes.
Morning, everyone. Morning. Name is Jimmy Radesha. And I'm a grandpa. You know,
Yeah.
I've moved to Thika, and one time we did some mushroom.
Yes.
Thika, you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking the area. So now currently I'm there. I work a small piece of farm. I'm thinking of what to do.
Yeah.
Mostly in maybe caniculture, organic farming, and flowers. There are people who are doing a lot of flower business there. So I hope to learn much.
22, and I have been doing no farming at all, so I'm here to learn and hopefully begin some kind of journey.
Yeah.
We'll see where it ends up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jambo,
Jambo.
I'm Khalfan Muhammad from Mombasa, but I'm now in Nairobi, around spear business in Kirinyaga. Just interested in agriculture since I was a teenager. Just like to venture and know more on agriculture.
Nice. Thank you so much, Alfani. So I just want to introduce to our host. So he's called Jackson, Mr. Jackson Dongo. So he's our host. He's the head of this family. So anaweza wasalimia.
Karibuni sana.
Asante.
Huko vya nyumbani na naishi huko. Karibuni.
Thank you.
Habari zenu? Hivi huko nyumbani. Sisi tunakaanga huku tu. Tunakaa huku tu, huku Gishagi tu. Sasa mimi naitwa Thomas. Lakini sio yule wa Bible. Huyu ni rafiki yangu. Huku ni kwa ndugu yangu. Asante.
So yeah, so
Him.
oh, the cameraman.
Yes.
Let me.
Just a second.
My name is Ben. I have some problem with my son. I have some syndrome. That's why you can't hear my son well. But my name is Ben. I do photography. I'm also a teacher by profession. I graduated in KU. I have farming. My home is in Meru. Where we do farming. For us, we do daily farming, tea leaves and coffee.
Going to walk down the farm, and I would wish that if you have any questions, write them on the sticky notes as we move around, so that once we come back, we will be able to tackle those questions that immediately come to your mind, right? The other thing is I'm going to give you some gifts so that we look like a team. I've got some branded merchandise, so I'm going to give everyone a merchandise. And at the end of the training, we'll also be able to give certificate for everyone who is here for the training. Yeah, so there will also be lunch. Tea will be coming. Yeah, so look forward to that as we go through the day. Yeah. So.
Don't joke, Don't joke around.
Kira kaka. early this year, we decided to set up a demo farm where we can grow different crops, that is both cash crops and horticultural crops. So we ended up getting partners to actually provide with seeds, hybrid seeds. So we got a company called Image Africa that was able to provide hybrid maize called Savo. I don't know if you know Savo or if you had it. Savo, yeah, like the same spelling for T-S-A-V-O. So Savo hybrid maize model. So they give us maize, enough seedlings or seeds to actually plant this whole section. So like I said early in the morning, I was telling you guys that we'll be having trainings every other 2 weeks. So we'll be having a training, a local training for the people around this area in the next coming few weeks with guys from Savo now. So we planted this type of maize, and you can see the ones that are really performing well have 2 combs. The ones that are not doing very well, they have 1. So during the planting season, some of the things that you have to really be careful about is observing the area where you are planting, whichever crops you are planting, and understanding what kind of an environment they need for them to survive and thrive very well. So you will see here, because these ones are closer to the trees, they are not performing very well. However, those ones in the middle that are getting enough sun and enough energy to actually convert into photosynthesis, they are performing very well. You can see they are taller, they are doing two combs. So when you are preparing your land, if you have big trees around the farm, make sure that you shred them so that you have enough space for the sunlight to get to the leaves of the plant, because photosynthesis is very important for crops that are growing outdoor, and we get the sunlight and then we convert it, right? We all remember our biology. Who never did biology? No one. So all of us did biology. So we understand a bit of photosynthesis. So that's why you see the difference between the ones that are here and the ones that are in the middle. Any questions here? So the beauty of working with such a company, we provided this. You will see that the spacing here for the maize, to optimize the space, it's 1 foot. You see, the spacing is 1 foot between the maize. And then they never did 2 seeds in one hole, they did 1 seed. So that means you're optimizing the spacing and also giving the plant enough space for it to thrive. Yeah.
Is there anything special about the seeds? Is what they take the same time to grow?
No, it depends on the location. For example, maize grown in the highlands will take long as compared to maize grown in the plain areas, or the plateaus, like Rift Valley, which is yeah. So these ones take a bit longer as compared to the ones that are experiencing a lot of sunlight. And, yeah. So and the variety that you grow in the highlands are different from the variety that you grow in the plateaus. Yeah. So by the way, this is sunflower. Yeah. So it will grow and bloom into yellow flowers. This one is what is it called? It's a medicinal plant that we used to use in the olden days when you have a swelling. So you burn it on the fire, then it's going to produce a bit of a warm water. So then you had press it on the swelling, and the swelling will be gone. Yeah. So it's medicinal plant. Yeah. Ihoipia. In Kikuyu it's called Ihoipia. Mahoipia. Yeah. 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 So that's it. If you have any question, please remember to write them down so that we can cover them one later. Yeah. So this whole part is maize. Of course, you can see trees which are normal. Always have trees at the edges of your farm so that you block the wind from damaging the crops that you have. So it's always nice at the edges, not so many, but ensuring that you're able to block the wind. For example, for maize that can really be destroyed by the heavy winds. So it's nice to have trees in your farm. Yeah. So we can walk now down there. Separate the rows very well. You can maybe add a bit of spacing depending on the size of the cabbage that you're planting. So these type of varieties usually grow very big. Currently they are forming up, so you'll be seeing them almost touch each other over time because they will be so big. Yeah. So for cabbage, always make sure that the spacing is about 60 by 60 centimeter from each other crop. Yeah. So, and then the reason why we have this Napier grass on the edges. Napier grass is very good. So guys who are doing organic farming, Napier grass is very good because it prevents the pests from crossing over from different portions. So that's why we have it planted in between portions so that we can prevent pests from moving from one section to another. So when you are doing organic farming, always make sure that you understand the remedies for different crops. You should have repellents if you want to target being successful in organic farming. Have plants that can repel certain insects from affecting the main crop that you want to harvest. Then on the edges, always make sure that you have Napier grass or something like in our case, in our repellent here is the Napier grass. It can also be given to cows. So, but we planted it strategically around the portion so that we prevent the crossing over of different pests. Yeah. Below there, we had tomatoes. All dwindled within 2-3 days. All the sections that were planted tomatoes. So here. So that you can create space for more people. Most of these plants were tomatoes, so this whole section had tomatoes, and another section down there that was planted kales. So they got attacked by blight, and even if we had the remedies, they really could not survive because it was moving very fast. And I hear around this area, all the tomatoes went down because of blight. So if you're planting tomatoes for commercial purposes, I would advise you invest in a greenhouse, right? So investing in a greenhouse will protect you from extreme weather, like extreme cold or like extreme sun. So if you are doing tomatoes for commercial purposes, it's important that you consider having a greenhouse in your farm so that you're able to protect the crop from extreme weather and other diseases that come through wind flow. So for tomatoes specifically, just have that in mind that a greenhouse is critical for them to survive. So we can go to the next stage.
In the classification for kales, we have different varieties, and we have curry kale, we have kale, the normal kale that we buy from the grocery shops, and you'll see this area really kales can do very well as compared to tomatoes. So when you're planning your crops, the first time, don't plan for profit. So did you get that point? The first time you're planting your crops, don't plan for profit, because it's a learning process. Depending on the location, depending on the soil, depending on the crops that you've planted. So you should always make sure that you have a variety of different crops that you're going to test. Not big portions, small portions like this one, which is about 7 meter by 7 meter. So having small blocks of such, depending on your farms. There are people with bigger farms, like yourself, you mentioned you're doing maize for 5 acres. Yeah, so if you want to transition into horticultural farming in Eldoret, it will mean maybe you can pilot in 1 acre or half an acre, do small blocks of portions, and then be able to learn which crop really does well in that specific location. And really doing well is understanding the basics. So the basic, you have to get it right. First of all, understand whether your soil has is highly acidic. We were in a conference in May that was called African Fertilizer and Soil Health. And one of the key problems or challenges farmers across Africa are facing is that most of their soil are acidic. So if you have acidic soil, it's important that you get remedies. A quick remedy might be agricultural light that you can't just pour where you're going to plant the seedlings. Or you can use ash from the kitchen if you have a wooden kitchen, and then pour it where you're going to plant your seedlings. So agricultural lime or ash will neutralize the acidity so that it can create the right condition for the plant to survive. And also, if possible, if you're piloting in your farm, always make sure that you do a soil testing so that you understand what nutrients are in the crop, in the soil, and what remedies do you need to bring in terms of fertilizer, whether it's the fertilizer that you put from the rooting or it's the fertilizer that you spray on the leaves. Any question there? You seem to have a question.
Yes. So soil testing is
Results that you're going to get from the laboratory. They will advise you which crops will perform well in that type of soil. So having the soil tested will actually make you more aware of the type of crops you can pilot in your farm. So now getting started. So there is the soil testing, there is the piloting part of it, and then there is the observation and the learnings that you're going to get. For example, tomato here can do well, but because of cold, they cannot survive. So if we need tomatoes here to survive, we need a greenhouse. And you see the dynamics at different stages. So stage 1 was to understand the soil context. Then the next stage is to observe how different crops are performing. Then once you observe that, then you understand in this environment what works best for me. Sindio? Yeah. So we can go to the next portion down there that has some interesting crops.
So you're right because they're in the same class. So butternut, courgette, malenge in Swahili, they're in the same classification as these. So these are short-term crops. Ideally, they take 45 days for them to mature from planting, and the method of planting these is actually putting the seed at the point where you are going to plant. So for this particular crop, you cannot transplant it from a nursery to the planting area. So you directly, it's like maize, directly plant in the place you plant it. So now, why have we done long-term crops and short-term crops? Anytime you're farming, to achieve success, you need a crop that can make constant revenue every other week, like this one, or like kales up there. And then you need a long-term crop, and then you also need a medium-term crop.
Long-term crops is like coffee that is down here, or avocado trees that are there where we will be taking our classes from. So having a combination of short, medium, long term will actually enable you to have consistent revenue every other month. So it's important, if you are venturing into commercial farming as your main business, that you have a range of products that you can supply to the market, because the advantages of that is you'll never lack money. One crop can go bad, you have another one that you can still make revenue from. So that's very important for you to consider when you're planning your farming journey. So in the short-term crops, most of the time in the horticultural space, you'll be looking at what do people consume on a daily basis based on the market that you're targeting. For example, in this place, we might be targeting to sell to our neighbors. So what do our neighbors eat on a daily basis? They eat ugali, they eat vegetables. And the type of variety of vegetable that they eat here is either spinach or kales, sukuma wiki in Swahili. So if we are going to target this as our market segment, then we have to grow what they actually use on a daily basis, so that you are guaranteed that every other day you'll be having a neighbor paying you something, whether it's 50 shillings, 100 shillings, or 100,000, based on the size of your farm. So target market is critical to understand even before you start planting. So we said two things up there: perform soil testing and observatory learning when you're growing your crops. So it means that once you've done the pilot, you've understood what can work very well in your land. Now the next stage is to discover what type of a market you'll be targeting based on the feedback that the soil has given you. So the soil can communicate by telling you, here we have a variety of a pumpkin that can work very well. Here we have a variety of a capsicum that can work very well. So the soil will tell you, and it will give you the details based on the fruiting sizes. And then you choose, you make a choice. Now with that information and that data, you go to the specific target market that you're looking at, and then you decide, okay, I've talked to maybe 5 customers. This is what they usually sell. This is what they usually have in deficit. And this is what customers actually want, but the deficit cannot actually allow a customer to actually have a consistent supply of specific products. So once you go to the market, those are the dynamics you're understanding. You're also understanding the price when you go to the market. So if I decide to sell to my neighbors, of course the price will be scaled to my neighbors, right? So you're not going to sell to your neighbor like you sell to the city. The prices are completely different. A neighbor can get the crop at farm price. At the city, you have to add your logistical costs into the price. So you have to consider that, right? So, and depending on various crops that you intend to grow, you'll be targeting different segments of the market. For example, when I was growing mushrooms, I was not targeting everyone. I was targeting specific people. Specific people like high-end grocery shops, right? So for mushrooms, so I was targeting high-end grocery shops, like the ones in Westlands, Kilimani, Kileleshwa, those areas in Nairobi. The other segment that I was also targeting is the restaurants that sell pizzas. Most of us, I know we like pizzas, or your kids or your sons and daughter like to eat pizza. So mushroom was a big component of the restaurants that are preparing pizza. So understanding the specific crop, which market works very well for that. And then when you go to the market, there is the way they like branding the products they're buying from the farmers. So there are people who will tell you that if you're supplying me something, package them in a certain way and don't brand them, because I'm going to put my brand on the package, right? Or they can actually give you specification for branding that you need to put on the product. So you need to be open-minded when you're going to negotiate with the buyers, that they might tell you, package them this way, brand them this way, or actually bring with your brand if your brand is very strong and if you'd want to move your brand in the market for the long term. So you have to be very open-minded when you are trying to negotiate with various customers, right? And then the other important thing when you're negotiating with a customer is looking at how often they procure from you. How often do they need you to supply? It might be 2 days a week, 3 days a week, every other day, or weekly, monthly, depending on the crops that you're growing. For cereal teachers, maybe someone might be looking at every other quarter, you're supplying them with how many trucks of cereal, maybe maize, beans, such. So you have to understand that segment is not a daily, or they might be daily, but they are taking only 2 bags of maize, right? So you have to understand those dynamics when you go to negotiate with the market. Yeah, any question? So this is a type of coffee plantation Mr. Jackson is trying out, different from the olden generation. Maybe you can give more details of this type of a coffee.
Kwa hii mti inaitwa
kahawa na jina yake inaitwa Loido Bleven. Kiko tofauti na hii nyingine tulikuwa tengeneza zamani. Hii ukiona ikiwa ikianza kukua namna hiyo, sasa unaona sasa imeanza kuzaa. Sasa itaendelea kuzaa, wakati itashiba vizuri, mbegu yake itatoka kuanzia hapa mpaka hapa. Kwa hivyo hii ni moja, unaweza toa kama kilo mbili. Kwa hiyo hiyo mtu yote unaweza toa kilo 20. So what Mr. Jackson is saying is this type of coffee plant is called Ruino 11, different from the one he used to grow before. And for this type of plant, every tree can give you up to 20 kgs every season. So now if you have a piece of land where you can plant 1,000 trees, means that every season we'll be having 20 tons. So it's also important for you to understand how much can every single plant produce, right? If it's for capsicums, you understand the median weight for cabbage. Then with that, you're able to project your sales, all your production at the end of the season, right? Even before you start harvesting, you can use that data from the singular plant to actually communicate to the market that I'm expecting this amount of kgs from this portion of land. So can we negotiate a price? Yeah, so I needed to mention that because I've noticed it's different varieties. So across this other side.
Do you water the plants?
Yeah,
How often?
so for horticultural crops, watering is done every 2 other days. It's important. If the soil is moist, every other 2 days. If the soil is dry, you can do it on a daily basis, by the way. If, for example, unatoka Ukambani, the semi-arid and the arid area, so where evaporation happens very fast, so you can do watering every other day. And then the other important thing is different watering method. So for example, this one, we use either bucket or pipe water. You can also use drip irrigation. You can also use sprinkler type of an irrigation for you to be able to ensure that your crops are well watered. So depending on the type of crops that you're planting and how much work intensity you plan to have in the farm, or how easy you want to make your work to be, you can invest in different type of technology. So drip irrigation saves a lot of water. You don't need to be there for them to be watered. So you just need to either program the system, if you have an automated system, for it to water it automatically, or you could be just doing the manual water pipe opening, so that you irrigate maybe for 30 minutes with the drip irrigation. For sprinkler irrigation, the whole area has to be well watered. So you move your sprinkler to the next location once properly watered. Yeah. And those demand different type of attention. Yeah. Any other question? Sorry? Could you project? I mentioned that in the beginning of the year we talked to a few companies. So for this side of the horticultural crops that you've seen from the cabbage up here to the other section that you will be moving by, we got Syngenta to actually donate the seeds and the fertilizer So we also got another company called Yara Fertilizer to offer us with the fertilizer. And this company, they have distribution channels that they use. So if you are interested in such a variety of crops to test for your farm, specifically in Eldoret, maybe what we can do, or rather what I can do, is connect you to the Syngenta suppliers, and then they will give you a contact in Eldoret, someone who can either deliver the seeds depending on the quantity, or you can go and pick them from the stockist. Yeah. Question? The market. You've actually consumed whatever you're planting. Also, the other thing I was advised to always consider is when you're doing crop protection, don't overdo it. Crop protection is the use of pesticides to protect your crops from harm. So if you're doing that, don't overdo it, because it will harm you if you're eating whatever you're overprotecting. So integrating an integrated farming method where you have a bit of natural crop protection like napier grass up there will reduce the amount of pesticides that you actually spray on these crops, right? So like I can see here, all the capsicum are very healthy and they actually produce every other plant has produced a fruit or two. So capsicum is a medium-term crop. It takes between 6 to 9 months for you to exhaust the harvesting. It takes 60 days for you to actually start producing the first fruits. Like these ones, they just turn 2 months and I think how many weeks? About 3 weeks now. So these are planted in early April, and we are now in April, May, June the 3rd week, right? So it's taken about, immediately they hit 60 days, we start producing fruits. Yeah. So also understanding the crop cycle is very important. Capsicum will always produce if you give it enough manure, enough water, and it's receiving enough sunlight for it to make its own food. So key there is understanding a crop cycle. Yeah. So these were, we had very good tomatoes, but like I said up there, they're all attacked by blight, and so that we conserve land and space, we planted a different variety of skuma wiki or kales that is currently growing.
Chapa shot ya watu wakitembea.
Would you consider, what would you go for? You go for the higher price point, right? So you plant that variety. Although it also means that the superior variety is more expensive than the other. Yeah. Yeah. So we can go to the next section. Variety is very highly recommended for people with the higher acidic level in their stomach. So people who experience ulcers, curricales is the best for you. So don't eat the normal kales. So go for the curricale.
How do you spell curry? C-U-R.
Huh?
How do you spell the curry?
Curricale. So I'll give you the spelling once you get up there. So curricula and spinach, they're good if you have ulcers. So because they help in reduction of the acidic level. The normal skuma will actually spike the acidity. And if we are all going to transition into farming, always have your own section with the different variety of vegetables. You can have the spinach, you can have the normal kales, curry kale, broccoli, you can have the cucumbers, dania. Yeah, so you can have your own small section that is specifically for you. Make sure it's 100% organic. So we as farmers, we need to protect ourselves. Yeah. And if you can extend that organic farming to commercial farming, you make more money. Yeah. I'm sure guys who go to shop in Karen, the organic market, they pay more. Yeah. So yes, that, and then if you are planning to have your capsicum grow taller and taller, you need to have support with the strings tied to a longer string. You can also use wire, barbed wire, to actually hoist. So if you mulch your crops, most likely you'll be doing watering once a week or twice a week. Yeah. So, and also when we're experiencing a lot of rain, it's always important for you to dig enough allowance in between the crops and ensure there is a bigger trench that can allow water to flow well, so that the crops are not dumping excess water, right? Or they are not flooded. So that's also key and important when you're planning your beds and your planting area. Yeah. Any question here? You can also do mixed farming. So mixed farming is good if you also want to do organic farming, because you see different types of crops will emit different types of what is it called? Scents. And the scents can repel the insect that would affect the other crop next door. Yeah. So organic farming is actually the best in execution is mixed crop farming.
Okay. Because the length of the plant, does it mean more production of the fruit?
So if you look at the different types of the plants, you see they have different health context. It's the same like a baby. If you feed the baby well, the baby blooms, right? If you deny the baby some nutrients, we probably have kwashiorkor, anemia, all those things, and they will be feeble and weak. So it's the same for plants. The more you feed it with manure, the better it becomes, and the bigger the fruits they produce. Yeah.
Does it also depend on the type of soil? Either red soil, cotton soil?
That's a good question. So depending, I mentioned in the other section that it's important to do soil testing so that you understand your soil context, your soil variety can do well with a certain specific type of crop. But once you understand the soil, what nutrients are in the soil, then that is what will guide you into the type of crops that you can plant. Because the disadvantage of different types of soil is, like here we have red soil, and red soil drains water very fast. That's why it's very good for coffee farming, right? If you go to cotton soil, for example in Mwea, the soil there is black cotton soil because it's able to retain water. So depending on the type of crop, the amount of water it needs, that will guide you the type of plants that you can actually plant in your farm.
And what did you like the lifespan of the plant?
Capsicum, I said it's between, if you take care of it, it can even go to 12 months, but maximum is around 9 months if you're doing the basics. But if you take extreme good care of it, it can fruit up to 12 months. Yeah. I've seen capsicum that are taller than me in a greenhouse. Yeah. So, but they were supported. Yeah, because the capsicum, the more fruits it has, the more burden, of course, it's going to have. So for you to make it easy, you support them like tomatoes to relieve them of the weight. Yeah. So we have another gentleman who just joined us. Maybe he can say a word. He was part of our first training. He's also a neighbor. I thought of inviting him for the training, but he's come late. Hakuangalia masaa. Yeah, so
habari zenu. Na mimi kwa majina ni Karuha. Na mimi kwetu ni hapa tu. Nilikuwa nimealikwa na Bwana Kamau, lakini poleni sana kwa kuchelewa. Kama kuna kitu kimenipita, hiyo najua ni mwalimu wangu. Kanivuza tu. Asante.
Haya, so majina yao utajua kukaa chini pale juu. Tunaendelea na farm tour. So tutaenda pale chini, we look at the purple cabbage, then we look at coffee, then we go to the coffee factory, and we come back and have it. That's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hydro harvest is actually the complexity of pulling water from the well. Maybe who wants to try pulling water? You can feel how tough it is. Now see what you did? How is it? For me to start this project is the work you've done times 20, 30 times a day. And what's the solution? You offer and our objective is to actually give farmers the water equipment through a financing model, through that brand called the house. We also educate them. Once you have this equipment, how can you try it to ensure that you have sustainability? So the training we are having today is because we want to make sure that whoever gets the equipment, we also teach them on sustainability issues. That's equally important. So the alternative of doing this manual shallow well is digging a borehole with the machine, which gives you access to a lot of water down there. This can only give you so much. You can end up drying after pumping 1 hour. So depending on where you come from, if the water basin down there, you hit it right with a real type of a borehole, then you will always be having water. For the shallow well, if you don't hit the right water well on the outside, then there sometimes you will experience the well drying out. That's the disadvantage of shallow well. But of course, a borehole is more expensive. So. So the purple cabbage is a very good type of option. Purple cabbage is always nice for topping up the revenue and the expenditure as well. So that's why you're seeing we have new type of seedlings that are growing when the other ones are maturing. So a quick tip that I learned in mushroom farming is if you want to make money every month, maybe you have the minimum at 100,000. Then you need to apportion your calendar, your planting calendar, and the amount of harvest that you would expect from a certain portion to a minimum of 100,000. So it means every week you're either starting to harvest a new crop or ending to harvest an older crop. And so you'll always be having a standard type of supply to the market. If you plan your calendar very well, you'll always be having a certain standard that you can always achieve if you plan the calendar. If planting will be happening every 10 days, so that means every month you are doing 3 times a month planting. That will also mean that you'll be having a new crop at the beginning of the month and an older crop moving out at the end of the month. So planning that is very important so that you have sustainability. And sustainability means you're able to pay off salaries on time, you're able to pay off the bills on time, whether it's the running cost for electricity, if you are buying water or pumping water, if you're buying fertilizer, you're paying it on good time. So unlike planting these large scale type of crops like maize, when you just have a season, doing such integrated planning will ensure that you'll never miss on paying your bills on time. And also, if you pay your bills on time and you keenly look at the cost, you manage the cost very well, you'll be having a profit at the end of the year. Yeah. So that's very, very important during the planning phase. Any question there? So I think now we can, so this is the olden type of coffee. We continue working on this farm, also correct the coffee. So maybe in 1 year's time when you visit the farm, you might get an opportunity to harvest red berries from your coffee. We are hoping to also correct the coffee now. Now that we are having a lot of expert visiting the farm. Then I moved around the country.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so been to how many schools? 1, 2, So when farmers bring coffee, we first of all weigh the weight from this weighing machine. Machine ina miaka gani? So this machine was first used in 1985. So you can see the durability of the coffee weighing machine all those years. And I believe most of the coffee factories do have such old machines. So once they measure, they weigh the weight, they offload it here. So once it's put here, this tunnel gets to the machine. So the machine is able to remove the outer covering, the outer skin. Then once it's removed, the outer skin comes to this piece of receiver. I believe it usually have water. You can see some coffee beans. These ones. Very nice. So So here is a grading machine. So where he's touching is grade number 2. So number 1 comes from this other pipe. So then the number 3 from this other outlet. So from there, using those troughs, goes to the receivers. So and then the outer pulp, which is actually here. So for the outer pulp, I'll give you a bit of the history because we used to carry this one. So the machine, once it's able to remove the outer cover, goes through this tunnel. Then I think there is a machine that pumps this outer skin to the outlet up there. You will see it, I think, where now it's allowed to dry and guys can collect it to put back in their farms as manure. So this can be used as manure. There is a big trough where fresh water runs through. So they wash the coffee through the trough and goes to another storage tank. So once it's cleaned from it there, then the coffee is now removed or transferred to the drying area that we are going to see down there. Yeah. So this is the extra storage area. So this is where they transplant it to the most critical thing I want everyone to note. We are not doing
anyone is interested to see where the
Kalau tadi dia di kapal dia
So, so that you remain with the inner beam. Here again. Okay. So, there are two methods of roasting.
brown.
So there is dark roast, brown roast. I know we can differentiate the dark and the brown because we buy coffee. Yeah. So for roasting, it's the consumer who chooses which type of roast to buy and consume. Yeah, so that's about warehouse. So this is what we call grade 1. So maybe what we're going to be trying, let's check grade 1, how it looks like. Try to test it. So we're going to test grade 1 coffee from Karemamoro here. Just removing the outer core. It's very hard, but also crunchy. So, grade 3. Grade 3. Is it heavier or lighter? It's the same. It's lighter. Remember, the way you are grading them, just to remind you of the stage, the first stage of processing it is some sink, some hoover in between, and some float. So, this is the medium grade, so it should be there in the middle. Well, that one should be floating because it's the lightest of the grade. Yeah, so you can just return that there. Yeah, grade 4. So grade 4 is much lighter.
think it's the cheapest. So in terms of pricing, grade 1 is the most expensive, grade 2, second expensive, grade 3, third expensive, and grade 4, the cheapest. So now our question is, for you to harvest more grade 1, what do you need? For you to achieve more grade 4, what happens? So you know whether the So coffee grading starts from the farmer. Coffee grading starts from the way farmers take care of the coffee tree. If you take care of the tree, the heavier the grade you get, which is grade 1. If you give it enough manure and water, and of course you control the pest, you're going to get a lot of grade 1. If you don't take care of it, you get a lot of grade 4. If you just do a normal job, standard job, you get between grade 2 and 3. So it's farmers who choose the grade that they can be able to supply. When we were growing up, we had a lot of grade 1 because farmers were taking really good care of the trees. Now, you can also see for yourself, we have a lot of grade 4. In the farm, you could see the condition of the coffee because you are not taking care of it. So, if you decide to invest in coffee, you have to do the work. Because if you don't do the work, you don't have the money. Questions?
So let's say how much money? So you like kilos. You are going to tell in the letter it is good to have.
So around the So once the farmer measures the weight, that's the final touch point.
So the money is still the same whether it's
So the money is still the same. But now, the most interesting part is that if they are not selling more grade 1, they are getting cheaper prices, grade 4. Because even as they sell to the market, they are selling grade 1, they are paying more money.
But then it's what the farmer who is going across this can say. It is not the factory.
And it's now the responsibility of the factory to ensure that they either work hand in hand with the farmers, or if they don't work hand in hand, they will just give a median price for what they were able to sell. And once they have removed their running costs, the rest is what they will be able to pay farmers. So, like, there is a big gap in this industry, if you can look at it. And if young people are willing to innovate and to work with farmers and give farmers better prices, do value addition from here, then it means farmers will be happy to actually take care of the trees. Meaning to be putting more money to the pockets of the farmer. But the farmers because of this, because farmers are not taking care of their crops, they are going to try to use of coffee bean supply. But if the cooperative was working hand in hand to ensure that we have more grade which pays more, then farmers will get more money. But also, we also know that the coffee industry, there are issues systematically. So we also have to understand also that it's a factor for low prices. So, any other question?
Okay. Yeah, my name is Morten. I'm from Denmark, and I've been here today with Project Youth Mashambani. We've been looking at some coffee. We've seen where the beans come from. We've seen how they are processed, how they are graded, and we had a feel of the different grades. It's been very enlightening, very fun to see how it works from the ground to wherever it goes in the world.
So,
Of course, it depends on which one you want to get, but you can get like a kg of standard coffee. I would say 600-700 shillings for a kg.
Kenya shillings or
yeah, shillings, Kenyan shillings. Yeah, and then it's grounded up as well.
Okay. And when the manager here talked about 20 shillings per kg that they pay farmers, were you shocked of?
Yeah, very shocked. That's it was shocking. It's such a low amount. Yeah.
So what would you encourage the cooperative to consider?
I would highly, I would say that of course we need to pay more for that.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is it gonna get, or is it gonna give the farmers a better source of income, but it's gonna upgrade the whole process eventually.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome.
So, what's your...
Okay, Jambo, my name is Khalfan Muhammad from Mombasa. Now we are here in Murang'a County to explore more on the agricultural produce around here. And around this farm, as you can see here, you're able to go through from the packaging, or we can say, what can we say?
Processing of coffee.
Yeah, processing of coffee from A to
A to Z.
The removal of the peels, you can say. And we are able to taste and feel the texture of the coffee. Like I say, it's much like it's just like normal beans, I can say, like normal beans that we used to cook. We can eat the same taste. They are almost aligning.
Do you enjoy coffee from Java?
Java? I enjoy more from Java, but Starbucks.
Starbucks works.
Starbucks, because
so,
I've been outside, I've tasted Starbucks more.
So, seated in Starbucks, did you have a thought of what the process would look like for farmers to get that coffee bean to Starbucks?
No, I had no insights. Yeah.
And what would you say about it? About that whole process farmer have to take for Starbucks to actually sell that cup of coffee?
I say Starbucks they're benefiting more if you consider with the farmers how much they get from the hard work they put. The farmers get much less than the final.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you tell people from costs, from your experience in the coffee farm?
I can tell people from coast to study more about not only coffee but also agriculture. It can change the course of, it can change the narrative in coast, thinking that people cannot invest into agriculture. That's all I can say to young youth in coastal region.
All right, thank you.
Okello. I'm not audible. I'm Lydia Ruth. I'm from Wasingishu County, and I'm here in Murang'a County with the hydro harvest. And we are all about learning about the different varieties of crops that we can exercise at our farms back at home. Personally, I came here to learn about the horticultural crops, and I was really interested in the courgettes and the cabbages, and I think I can implement that back at home with the help of hydro harvest. My experience with this farm tour was exciting, and I think I learned. I think I have more knowledge, and I'm leaving Murang'a County with more knowledge than I came. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So nianze. My name is Terry. Nasikika. I'm audible now. Okay. My name is Terry. We're in Murang'a County with
hydro harvest.
With hydro harvest. I've learned so much today. Very many things about very different crops and how they're grown and how to take care of them. We visited a factory, coffee factory, and I've learned how the whole process on how from the harvest to processing, and how the coffee beans are dried and all that, and it's been amazing. Yes, so when I go back home, I'm gonna try to plant a few things, try to put my knowledge, what I've acquired here, into practice, and see what happens. Yes, so thank you.
Hello, I'm here in Murang'a County. I'm here in Murang'a County to come to learn a few things about farming, courtesy of hydro harvest. And I ended up here at a coffee processing plant, and had a very fruitful learning experience. From the moment the coffee beans arrive, how they are processed, how they are weighed, and it was a really good eye-opener for me, because I am a daily partaker of the brew, and I love it, and I've never actually gotten to find out the exact process it goes through. I appreciated the huge process, the huge capacity the factory has, but unfortunately I could see it's underutilized. I could see farmers are not anymore doing coffee, because as I was growing up, we used to be one of the major exporters of this brew, the coffee, but due to various factors in the industry, through management or mismanagement for that factor, the prices have come so low that people have tended to uproot it instead of going for it. I don't know how the way forward is to go back to the major way we were, the exporters and the growers of high quality coffee, but we need to pull up our socks as coffee growers. Thank you.
Camera. Niangalia wapi? I look here. Here. Hapa. Sawa sawa. Hi everyone, my name is Titus and we're outside in Murang'a County. I'm from Kiambu County. We're at this beautiful countryside of Murang'a at a coffee factory. It's been amazing getting to see how our coffee is processed from collection to processing. Apparently there's a lot of water. That makes sense why they're always on a slope. And then the weighing scale, it's vintage and having fun. So much to learn from the different types of grade, from grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 and grade 4. And so excited guys. Thank you. Big ups to Hydro Harvest.
Feedback. Wakina muno. Dina bela. Ani anakea nini? Naona yandikitwo na hau thutha project Youth Mashambani. Reda Youth Mashoto. Getha unainywa mugikura. Ngamenya hena andu maraikura thutha. Ejo turahota guthima guthe na mundu ukuhota kurima kindu ukari nikio twina visikitenda getha goma maundu meri matutuma kurima
Ndugu masoki haria
kana githomo
nasema kama miaka ya hapo beleni hii factory haikuwa hivi. Tuseme kama babangu alikuwa anapima raundi moja tu pale, siku moja tu alikuwa anapima zaidi ya kilo 1000 siku moja tu, na wakulima wengine nasikia tuseme kama hiyo siku moja kuna pimwa zaidi ya tani 10. Kwa hivyo kama tu mnaweza angalia hiyo maneno ya kuinua kilimo, naweza rudisha ukulima mahali ulikuwa hapo mbeleni, na nchi inaweza endelea mbele. Asante. Hiyo kuna mambo mengi. Kwanza tuseme kama kitu kinaleta faida, kweli hauwezi ukafa moyo. Huwezi ukakata bidii. Inaonekana kuna mahali huko juu kuna kitu kilifanyika, ndio bidii ya mkulima ikapunguka. Sasa yeye akitia bidii, akivuna mavuno, akiachilia mavuno yake yende huko ikauzwe, kuna kitu kinaendelea huko. Sasa yeye mapato inamfikia ikiwa kidogo. Sasa anamalizwa namna hiyo. Kuna hitilafu mahali huko juu.
Sawa, thank you muno. Ni twakena riu tugucoka uguo mucii. No ni tugukikũrĩra andũ a gũtukanĩria gũkũ wega. Na tondũ ndũragĩthondeka kahũa, nĩ tũngĩagũra kahũa. Nĩ tũngĩinũka na kahũa, kila mũndũ nĩ angĩagũra kahũa.
cia kũruta wĩra tondũ magũkorwo matekĩndũ.
Sawa, reke tũthikĩrĩrie
gũkuga atĩrĩrĩ, yuthi-rĩ ndĩrĩ kĩndũ wona arĩa menakĩo mũkamasapoti na kĩrĩa mangĩruta wĩra nakĩo na mũkarora gĩkĩro kĩa mũndũ, tondũ mwahota kũheana mũheanĩra rĩu mbeca icio nginya gũtuĩka nĩ wĩra nĩkwenda mũgatuĩria mũkoria kĩro kĩa mũndũ na mũkamabangĩra wĩra ũrĩa mũngĩenda mũndũ aruta. Mũtirĩ na idea ya kũmabangĩra? Mũkamabangĩra na mũkamaroraga, makambĩrĩria kĩndũ kĩnini
rĩu magathiĩ ũrĩa athiĩ kũrĩte agathiĩ ngereire wona nĩ akũthithimia rĩ mũtikakĩingĩra irĩma na indo cianyu ciothe ciingĩre nake aingĩre na thiĩ mũingĩre ĩtwo mũrenda mũkĩre no mere ũtũũro rĩ ũtũũro ti mũhũthũ ũguo megwĩciria ũtũũro nĩ mũhũthũ no wambagĩrĩrio grassroots ũkũrĩte mpaka ũgatuĩka ona gĩthomo twambagĩria tũgathiĩ ũguo tũkũrĩte
sawa thengio mũno nĩ twakena
ithuĩ twambĩrĩirie tene no nĩ tene nĩguo ndandĩkirwo nĩraheigana rĩmwe
58, 1958. 100 shillings.
Thĩna nĩ ũkĩire mũgũnda ĩno tũkĩiga rĩ na rwana nĩ igana ndarekire kũgũra ikacira
ithano
na niĩ ndori ndĩraingĩra hau nginyagia tukii.
So let me just highlight the final point. He just said he started work in 1958. He was being paid 100 shillings. And with the 100 shillings, he was able to buy land 5 acres. So, and the other thing that he mentioned and Grandma mentioned here was that as we continue to organize ourselves as youth, if you see someone is hardworking enough and they are growing, they're increasing the amount of capacity they can be able to output out there, we support that person. If someone is not growing, they are declining, then we should not invest more assets in that person. So those were final words from our grandpa here. Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Niĩ ndũrĩte kwa mĩgũnda mĩaka igana
38 years.
Na ndokire gũtanga 1985 June. Hakwa nĩ nahaithera rũĩ gwitũ
na harĩa kĩanda
waiga wa toni gũkũ macungwa tatũrĩ mwana
nĩma sawa sawa
ena metho
ũrĩ wana harĩa
nagagĩtagwo metho ona ũyũ ũyũ ena metho ũyũ nĩ kanyonji nĩ ndũĩ
na nyoike
nyoike rĩ ũyũ metho
nĩma sawa sawa thengio.
Sasa haikuwa imegawanywa, tumegawanya tu hata tuseme by February ndio tuligawanya hii saba, ndio unaona sasa iko bush. Sasa by the time it was divided, sasa nikajaribu kurikiramit haraka haraka nione kama nitapata kitu hata kama niko kichaka. Sasa ndio nikakuja nikachimba hii mashimo, nilikuwa najaribu kupata miti ya avocado. Ukiangalia hapa kuna mti wa avocado hapa katikati. Sasa nikaona kama mti unakuwa naweza panda mbegu za marege hapo. Ndio mti sasa ikikua, ndio marege ikikua tunaacha mti. Lakini ile miti nilipata sikupata ile nzuri. Sasa ndio naona ingine inakauka namna hiyo, lakini sasa naona bado kwa marege nitapata kitu kidogo. Sasa ile kitu niliona muhimu sana pale ndio hiyo bwana kama ule alikuwa naongea kuhusu hydro harvest, ama hiyo hali ya kutumia maji ukitumia kutoa maji kwa shallow well ukitumia pump. Ukiangalia pale kwa ile mti pale chini kuko na katank hapo. Huko chini kuna mahali kuko na hiyo shallow well. Sasa natumia hiyo pump, inapiga maji inaleta hapo. Sasa naweza kunyunyizia hii mimea. Sasa unaona hiyo kazi inakuwa rahisi juu ya hiyo pump. Kwa hivyo hiyo jambo ni muhimu sana. Hiyo ya kutumia hiyo pump kutoa maji kwa hiyo well. Juu sasa tuseme kama ni kutumia mkono, hii kazi singeweza kufanya. Nilikuwa tunataka tu muone tu hata kama sijafanya kulingana na standard ya agriculture ya kilimo. Nimepitia shortcut. Next time tutajaribu. Ni hivyo tu.
So maybe just to interpret for him, here they just subdivided the land where his father used to grow coffee from. he mentioned that they used to harvest 1,000 kg and take it to the coffee farm next by. And now after subdividing the land amongst the family members, he has this piece of land. He decided to reclamate the land. It was bushy, and so he was like, okay, so what do I do with my land? Decided to plant some avocado trees where you see the big holes, and also decided beside the trees to plant pumpkins, so that before the trees grow up, the avocado trees grow up to be harvested, you could be enjoying harvesting pumpkins. Yeah. So, okay. And he's really insisting that when you're doing farming, always consider source of water, and water is what will make you successful. It's the number one key factor to make you successful if you're growing your crops out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, brother, inafaa unajitabiria, acha kusema utapata kitu kidogo. Hii ni kitu kikubwa.
Yes.
Sione hivyo.
Na ikuja hiyo kubwa basi.
Yes. Mai mirawe. Mirodi.
Kule bila mekureti kanga ukagire ngiri yote ni kanga.
Na yako?
Yangu ni kamoja.
Si tu.
Niko kwa kwanza central. Of course on a daily basis. Yeah, lysing and pouring. That's one of the biggest things that can eat away your profit or give you more profit. Yeah, if the shilling is not doing well, then you get more profit because of a weaker shilling. If the shilling is very strong, then the dollar exchange rate, you won't get a bigger margin. Yeah. So forex margin is very important, both in the import and export case scenarios. Then the other thing, systems. When you're exporting, one of the most important thing is having quality assurance person who streamlines all the process. And streamlining process in farming is there is documentation of when you plant the seeds into a seedlings. There is documentation of when you transplant, if it's the horticultural produce. You have documentation of the crop protection chemicals that you use in the farm, and make sure that you're not spraying the chemicals that have been banned in the export receiver country. So for example, if you're exporting maybe cabbage to Denmark, maybe Denmark has said that you cannot use XYZ chemicals on cabbage. Yes, in the process. So you have to be very keen and document all the chemical you use, the quantity, and that data is available for traceability purposes. Then the other thing, after documenting, harvesting, and post-harvest storage, quality assurance. So what happens during the day of harvesting? What is the process of harvesting? What's the quality of sorting out the right fruit size for harvesting? Storage for the crops, for the harvest that you get. So you need, if you are exporting, it's always nice to have a sorting area or kind of a warehouse where you do your sorting. And then with the sorting area, you're able now to get the best quality, moving to the next stage of packaging. So, and the sorting area can be the place where you also clean up. If you are harvesting potatoes, they need to be cleaned up, remove the soil. They need to be spotlessly clean as you pack in them in the packets, right? So then the other thing that is important after sorting and cleaning is labeling. So you need to label the dates of packaging and the dates of expiry. Okay? Packaging. When did you harvest and package? How many? What's the shelf life of the produce that you've packed? So, and the shelf life will determine the expiry date if stored under the right conditions. And then the other thing that is critical after noting down and labeling your harvest is moving it now to the waiting room, that is a cold store that has different temperature level depending on the crops. That is critical. So 2022, I think I was in Kenya Flower Conference, and the biggest topic was how do we reduce post-harvest losses, and how do we make sure that we increase quality of the process to reduce damages that get to the end clients. And one of the key thing was immediately you harvest, you sort everything out, you pack it, you label it, you put it under, I think it was 0.5 degrees in the storehouse, the cold store. And then when you are doing your logistics from the farm to the airport, because most of the horticultural goods are exported through air, or a very small percentage is now doing through sea, even the flowers, is to make sure that the truck where you are transferring, there is no gap in terms of timing. So, meaning, if you remove it at 5 degrees, 0.5 degrees from the cold store, you put in the truck at 0.5 degrees and you maintain that 0.5. Immediately you get to the airport, it gets to the airport transferred to a 0.5 degrees. So there is no temperature tempering of these products that you're exporting, because temperature tempering will make the contents of your produce change in temperature. That means something will start getting bad, something will start getting warmer, and they start, if it's something that loses water, it loses water. If it's something that absorbs water, it will absorb more water, right? So having control of the temperature and the process is key to the export market and industry. So we talked about the quality of harvest. So you have to be very keen with the quality of harvest. One of the biggest problems, for example, for avocado farmers is harvesting premature avocados. Those, they tend to go bad immediately they get to the shipping country or the receiving country. So you have a whole container, 20 foot or 40 foot of avocado boxes, and 60%, 70% is bad. That person who is receiving the avocado will not pay for them. They will actually fine you for not delivering the right quality, because contractually they're also supposed to deliver in the supply chain. And what I've learned in the European market is the big companies that control the supply chain. So you deliver to them, they know which companies that they are going to distribute to. Those other logistics, they handle everything. So if you mess up something for such a company that maybe has 20 other companies that they distribute to, they're actually not fulfilling their contractual agreement. So you mess up the contractual agreement of the other person on the other side because the process was not done to the right standard. So export market, the biggest thing, standard. Yeah. So you have to be very keen and careful with the standard of the produce that you're sending out. Yeah. So, and then of course, beside that is in terms of payment, you receive your payment. Of course, most of those things you cover them in the initial contractual agreement, but you need to be aware of if you are interested in that market. Yeah. So do you get an international bank that has your country as the original HQ, or do you get another trusted international bank to work with? So those are things that you really need to be careful about, and researching the history of the financial institution you partner with is key, because if you research very well, you should go for the company that has been longest in the market with the best forex rate, and that can offer you credit when you need a credit note. So understanding those dynamics is critical. Yeah. So the other thing is people. Farming is people. Farming is soil. So, and farming is a bit of technology. If you get the soil right, and if you get the people right, and you do your very best to get the technology right. Technology might be the crop protection, technology might be hybrid seeds. So if you also get that right, you are sure that you'll be able to make profit at the end of the stage of supplying your goods to the market. So here in Kenya, what we've not perfected is the people and understanding soil and remedies and what to do on time. So if we invest our energy and resources into perfecting the team members that work in the farm, that oversee the distribution chain, that oversee the whole process, then you're actually improving the standard of the quality of service and produce that you're delivering to the market. The other thing is soil. So for the soil, I said down there, soil testing, understanding remedies for the soil. If it lacks minerals, you understand that you have to remedy using the minerals the soil is lacking. Getting the quality seeds, all hybrid seeds, is also critical. Then another thing is depending on your customer, there are people who are sensitive to GMO foods, and there are customers who are sensitive to organic food. So depending on your customer, then that will guide you on the process and the kind of seeds that you need to grow, and the process that you need to ensure that you have quality produce, depending on what the customers are looking for. Right? Yeah. What's the other thing? Yeah. So I've talked about the process, the people. The other thing is infrastructure. So infrastructure, for example, in such a simple farm where we are trying to improve the infrastructure. by ensuring that we have a water storage area, it's working. We have a water sourcing area, it's working. We have the equipment to do that. So you have to implement and put up the right infrastructure for your farm to operate. And basic infrastructure for a farm is water infrastructure, storage infrastructure, whether for your seeds, fertilizer, and your produce or harvest, and then packaging room is a very key important infrastructure that most smaller holder farmers don't consider. And then another infrastructure might be the logistical part of it. So understanding how will I be getting my produce from Oranga to Nairobi, from Nairobi to Amsterdam. So the logistics are key. Do you outsource because other people who have the right infrastructure can charge you a fee and guarantee the quality, or do you invest in your own infrastructure from the farm to the airport? Because I believe most of us would actually hire a plane to transport the goods, and there are actually organizations that can help you get your produce from the farm to the airport and to the country of destination. They can handle all that logistics. You just need to identify who are the right partners, what are the charges, and do they assure me of the quality assurance immediately I give them my harvest from the farm, that the customer on the other side will receive it in the exact quality. That was also another thing that I noticed a lot of organizations are discussing, that if you're outsourcing the service, you need to ascertain that they are able to guarantee that service, and they can either insure the goods on transit, and they can also be able to deliver that service as it's when it's needed. Yeah. So those are key important things. So, people, what kind of people do you need in your farm for it to succeed? One, you need yourself, the vision bearer. You need yourself, definitely. Yeah. So the vision bearer is the person who drives everything else in the farm. The vision bearer inspires the team. The vision bearer guides the team on the direction they are going to take. The vision bearer guides the team on the ethos of working. The vision bearer actually ensures that the systems that are required to be implemented in the farm are implemented, even as much as they have employed people to implement these processes. So you, as the vision bearer, you have to oversee everything that happens. So one of the things that you might find people doing is micromanaging. But to micromanage can be a disadvantage if you don't perfect the way that you micromanage people. The opposite of micromanaging is empowering people to take up their responsibility and their leadership capacity so that you are able to succeed in every sector. So if you know that your strength is not planting the seeds, if you know there is a gentleman who, if they're the one who put the seeds in the soil, they thrive. If it's you, you know that you have 50% success rate. So if you identify that as a weakness, empower that person to do that job, right? So you empower that person. If you know you are not the best person to harvest, don't go and harvest. Get the best person who can harvest. Pay them to what you agree and to the capacity that you feel both parties feel it's a fair deal. So I'm a proponent of empowering other people to handle their responsibility to the best of their knowledge and to perfect the delivery process rather than micromanaging your team. Then the other thing that is critical in team is, as you're developing your team, we talked about the vision bearer. Now, the person below the vision bearer is usually the person who handles the operations, right? The vision bearer might be the CEO, or they might outsource the CEO, but they need someone to run the operations. So vision bearer can do this today. They could be working with the farmers because they have identified a small gap with the people who are executing things at the farm. Tomorrow they might be fundraising at the bank or private investors. So vision bearer go to where their energy and expertise is needed to closing the gap between the person who is responsible for that area and them who are the vision bearer, who now sum up everything and ensure that there is a delivery. If it's a contract that you are supposed to sign with another company, the vision bearer comes there and ensures that if there are any barriers, they remove the barriers. Then the contract is signed. So if you're the vision bearer, just know that your responsibility are widespread in the organization, and you'll only be moving from gap 1 to gap 2 to gap 10, wherever the gap is needing you to focus on. Then the other thing, after the operations person that you need is the finance guy. Yeah, the finance guy are actually at par with the operations person. The operation person advised the vision bearer, the finance person advised the vision bearer. Now the finance person's work is to make sure that they are balancing expenditure and the amount of money either they are receiving or that the investors are investing. So the finance person's responsibility is to ensure that the firm is financially stable, or the business that you are in is financially stable. So they balance everything. And it's you as the vision bearer to actually ensure that you're guiding the finance person to making the right decision based on the vision that you have. There is a time that you'll be required to invest more when you're getting very little profit. So, meaning you are investing most of the money that you're getting so that the business can grow. Growth in a farm might be acquiring more land, might be acquiring technology, might be acquiring more experienced people with the right background. So you'll need to understand when you're starting off, basically you're getting very small profit to go back to the directors or to the people who have invested in the business because you want the company to grow. Then you get to a certain level where the farm is stabilizing and now you need to be awarding the directors, the investors, the team. So maybe you're giving more bonuses, you're increasing their pay. There's a time you couldn't pay standard salaries. So now once you stabilize, increase their salary to a standard level, you might pay them bonuses to motivate them and to incentivize them to do more in the farm. So you as the vision bearer plus the operations person and the finance person are the key people who make these decisions on where the organization is financially and making the relevant adjustment at different stages of the company. Yeah. Yes. The other person that is key after the finance person, guys who are supplying your produce to the market. The marketers, so these guys go and look for the market. And then below the marketers, you have the sales people. So the sales people ensure that whatever the marketer got is being delivered to the market. So they are managing the sales logistics. You also need, below the sales person, you need to have a logistic person. So the logistic person might be the driver who drives the truck to the market. And then below the logistics person, you now have the warehouse or the dispatch person who approves what goes to the market. So you need a person if you're building a commercial big farm. Some of these roles and responsibility might not be done by one singular person in a small farm, but if you're a big farm like 400 acres, 1,000 acres, you need all those people I'm mentioning. If it's 5 to 10 acres, then one person might be handling 3-4 responsibility, so that you manage your costs as a company. So below the guy who does dispatch are the guys who now package, brand, put the dates of packaging and expiry date. These are the guys who have received the crop from the farm. So they are the guys preparing the crops for to go into the warehouse, awaiting dispatch to the market. So those guys are key in the system. Then we have these guys that harvest. So if you're running 1,000 acres, you have a team that specializes in harvest on a daily basis. So the team for harvesting just comes. So today we are harvesting section A. They do section A. Tomorrow section B. The next month they are finishing up with maybe section Z. So that the process again starts from section A. So you need those people who harvest. Then below guys who harvest, if it's a large farm, you need guys who do crop protection and crop maintenance. So guys who are removing the wind and guys who are doing the spraying of either pesticides and ensuring that the crops are growing healthy. Below those guys can also do irrigation. But below irrigation, if you're doing a big farm, you might have someone responsible for irrigation of the farm. So they ensure that everywhere in the farm is irrigated at the right time, right? So that is critical. Below the guys who irrigate, we have the guys who plant. So you might be having guys who specialize in planting, an agronomist who takes care of the seed from the seed beds of the nurseries and transplanting. So, and below guys who do the planting and the seeding, you have guys that do procurement, right? Now we are coming back to these operations, guys. See how the cycle is going? So we have guys who are doing procurement. So procurement of fertilizer, procurement of seeds, procurement of labor. So procurement of labor might be in the HR department. Procurement of seeds might be actually in the procurement department. And then after the procurement of the procurement team, now you have you're going back to the HR, back to the operations team. So have we covered the people in detail? Very well. So those are the people that you need for a farm to succeed. One key person I've not mentioned is the quality assurance guys and the auditors. Guys who audit the process. They can be either internal auditors and quality assurance guys, or they can be either external auditor or quality assurance guys. Yeah? Yeah. So, in the farm, the people who are looking after the crop, you must have a lead agronomist, and then you must have the people who now do the real work. If the farm is big enough. If it's not big enough, you might get an agronomist who can also plant, who can also harvest, who can also do crop protection, all those things, depending on the size of the farm. And how do you success-free get affordable labor? The first touch point is get interns from university and technical colleges. So if you're planning to have a commercial farm, make sure you have someone who understands the crop itself and what it takes for crops to grow deeply. So go get these guys who are finishing up their technical college, university. Let them intern at your farm because they are looking for jobs. Like for you, Lydia, if you want to multiply your harvest of maize in your 5 acres to double or triple, get an intern. Pay them that 20,000 a month that guarantee you that 5 acres that you'll be having will double at the end of the season, right? Because they understand what it takes to plant maize and to successfully harvest it and store it and sell it to the market in good condition, because they have been taught this as a specialty job, right? Yeah. So I've covered the people. Any questions on the people? There's something that I've not covered on the people. You need advisors. You need advisors. The same way we have parents who advise us, even in business, you need parents. And the parents in your business are the board of advisors. So they tell you, hey, move this way, hey, change this crop to this one, because they have industry experience, right? And they are passionate to give back to people who want to succeed in this industry. So you, make sure that you get yourself advisors. Part of the advisors might be people who champion you and talk about you in rooms where you are not present. So if, for example, the government is giving some grant, they are the people who tell you, hey, look at this grant, apply for it. That's a good advice that you need in your team. Another person might be, hey, this guy has really tough legal issues to handle. So you need a person with a legal background to help you through, succeed through the whole legal battle process. Someone who can advise you what to say, what not to say when you're doing your business, right? So that's very critical in terms of people. Then you just need friends, your peers who are actually doing the same thing and who can relate to the problems that they are going through and you are going through the same thing. For example, you might be having a communication issue with your team and you share it with another person and they tell you how they were able to solve it. You see, you've solved a big problem by just talking to your peer in the industry. So that is very key. Ensure that you have all the right regulation. If you are thinking of the export market, make sure that your standards are to the international standards for you to succeed in that space. Yeah, get the right people who can be vetted by the people who do quality assurance and audit your process. For example, guys from KEFIS, if I'm recommending crop protection for pesticides, they need to know that I've done that in university. I have a background in crop protection, and I can advise farmers or the farm to actually use the right crop protection, right? Yeah, so that is very key, getting people with the right experience. Yeah. So we talked about finance. You need to raise funds, whether from yourself, from other people, from banking institutions, and other financial institutions. Raise grants if you need to. Then of course, have your community backing you up by giving them jobs, giving back to the community. They will appreciate you. Yeah. Wow. 2 questions that have turned to be.
It has taken the whole time.
From just one person. Yeah. So, Ben, I think just focus.
Plant stops working or dies. Does it change the soil? So you need to retest it, or?
So ideally, if you've done the first testing, then they have done recommendation report.
Okay.
Of what you need. So the recommendation report usually has the nutrients the soil has, the nutrients that the soil needs, and the type of crops that you need to grow.
Okay.
And whether it's acidic or highly alkaline. Yeah. So that's what the report for soil testing gives you.
Okay.
So with such recommendation, now if you are having problems with your soil and the crops that you're growing in the soil, what you do is talk to an agronomist, give them the report, then they can be able to advise you on what you need to do based on the crops that you're growing.
Okay. Starting crop, if there is a best.
The best
crop for starting? When you first start out?
To learn, do the short-term crops.
Okay.
Yeah, to understand the cycles. Short-term crops are between 30 to 60 days, and you harvest them.
Okay.
Yeah. And those majorly are the vegetables.
Mm.
And those you can eat at home, you can sell to your neighbors.
Yeah.
So they are readily required in the market. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Once you learn with the short-term crops, go to the medium-term crops. Maybe a crop for 5 months, 4 to 6 months. Those are medium. Once you're done learning with 4 to 6 months crops, an extension might be 8 months crops like capsicum. Then you go into the long-term crops like avocado, coffee, bananas, also kind of long-term crops. Rice, sugarcane, those are long-term. Once you deal with the long-term, do value addition, or you can start with value addition. For example, one of the biggest things that I really think we need to do, wherever you come from, if there is something that can be added value from your local community, or that you can identify that you can add value to it, go and try it out. Pilot that with a small size. Then grow it as you understand the market. For example, here we have avocados and coffee. those are things that if it's for me, I need to consider as a young person to do value addition. You can do value addition for avocado, to get oil, to get pulp, right? To get this beauty stuff from avocado. Yeah. So I can venture into that. For coffee, I can venture, instead of these farmers just getting 20 shillings, I can venture into giving them the right crop advice, supplying them with fertilizer, advising them, agronomical services, buying the produce from them, doing value addition in terms of processing the coffee, roasting the coffee, and selling coffee as an end product, either when it's roasted or grinded, right? So just go and identify an opportunity, whether it's in your locality or in another location where you see that you can be able to solve the problem. The other thing when you are doing value addition is, for farmers, always make sure that you're giving your farmer enough money to appreciate the work they do. Once you figure that out, how much money can I pay the farmers and still make profit in the value addition process? That will make this farmer, when I visit them, the first thing they do is to give me a cup of tea and to have a very big smile that I've come because I pay them on time and I give them enough money. So if you can be able to solve that problem for farmers, money that they get back from selling their produce, will be in business. Then figuring how much money can you make on top of giving farmers the best price that they can get for their crops. Any other questions?
No.
Perfect. Lydia, yes, yeah. So what I've seen with the armyworm, people can use ash on the leaves. Now for large scale, we have crop protection. There are things they will recommend. There are pesticides that they will recommend that will eliminate armyworm. Depending on the company that you go for, you might go for Syngenta crop protection. They have remedies for armyworm. The other thing that technologically that is important to consider now that we are talking about large-scale farming is use of drones. So a drone can be able to map out 100-acre land within 5 minutes. They map out which crops have diseases affected, because you just scan everything and then they give you the data. Then you action the data. So actioning the data, you talk to someone who specializes to crop protection. And then you spray using a drone. A drone can just take an hour, 2 hours, and 100 acres is done. Now to small scale, that's why I was talking about using of ash. If you have a small farm, you can use ash. That is inexpensive and still organic. Or you can spray using a bark pump. The ones. the question is, would you rather lose your tomatoes like we lost them out here before they get to fruiting? Or would you rather sell the fruit?
Yes.
Because you know, once you transfer loss responsibility and damage responsibility, you're in better hands. So for me, I would rather transfer that responsibility to the next person. I've given you the best quality from the greenhouse. And shelf life reduces if the temperatures at the shelves are not right. Yeah. That is what really damages a lot of the post-harvest challenges. Yeah, so I would rather you sell something quality and you transfer the damage to the other person. If they don't take care of it, you give them in the right condition. They will not blame you. Yeah. So, questions that you're able to.
Questions that you can now answer from talking about sample seeds. Do they have different seeds that can grow in different areas? Because kama saizi naangalia we moved to Moya. I can do some farming there. And also here I have land in Nanyuki that is just there. So how's your need? Do they come after you've gone and tested your soil? Of which do you take your soil to any laboratory or as advice on specific places where unachota mchanga and then you take them na kupimia?
So there is a formula for doing soil testing. There is a machine for conducting soil testing. So on the machine, what it does is able to grind through the soil to get to the finest below the top layer surface. So there is the way they do it. I would advise you, if there is a startup that can do that for you, I can recommend a startup I know. The alternative is going to the government agency. They do soil testing for you. Government agency like Caro can do soil testing for you and give you results and recommend. Yeah, Caro. K-A-R-O.
I thought it was Caro.
Okay. Yeah, so they can do soil testing for you, and then they give you a report. So the report they give you, like I was telling,
like a kienyeji where let's say the shamba is not that big, because probably if you go coconut costage.
No, soil testing is not that expensive. If you go to the government agency, they do it at around 1,500 to 2,000.
Okay.
Private agency, it might be double that, about 4,000 for soil testing. They come to the farm to actually take the samples and give you the recommendations. Yeah. So you go closest to where the farm is, the organization that is closest to the farm. Yeah.
Napier grass is used as it's used. How do you first grow napier grass? Do you like cut the stalks and then you dig them, then you plant them? That's how you grow them.
Yeah. So you just cut old napier grass, chop them into small pieces,
then okay. Let's say if napier grass cannot do well in arid areas, are there other plants that can do the same work as napier grass?
Yeah.
Especially in lands like Nanyuki, Kitengela sites, and yes.
Yeah, there are other crops. Let me see if I can get a detailed inorganic crop protection repeller list, and then I can share that with everyone.
So napier grass is very good business. If you just have a land that is just there, you can grow napier grass and then feed it to people who do like zero grazing. Short-term plans, because some short-term, long-term, I think explained more. I think I just wanted more information on short-term plans. But you already sharpened here, but you already gave the examples. And okay, for short-term plans, you just have to control the environment.
So, if you're a new farmer, like you're calling Morten, if you want to succeed in the farming business, start with the short-term crops. Understand the crop cycle. Once you understand a few crop cycles, you advance to medium-term crops. Then you understand their cycles. Then once you succeed at medium-term crop cycle, medium-term meaning 6 to 8 months or 9 months. And then long-term crops are anything that does a year and above. So you understand their cycle, and then you can now scale or do value addition for different
Apple on value addition. Like for those coffee beans that we left there at grade 1. I've seen some Indian videos where they have like a big pan and then they just warm it.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be the next process, the next step after how they look? Because I think if it's value addition and it's something that can be done here locally, and then when it comes to packaging, it's just looking for things that can be packaged.
So value addition for coffee is very easy. You just need a roaster and a grinder. So roaster, you see Connect Coffee, Riverside Road. Connect Coffee, the one at Riverside, Chiromo, Connect Coffee Chiromo, they train on coffee brewing, and they supply the equipment for coffee processing. That is a roaster, grinders, the ones that Javas and the rest of the supply chain are using. So they do that. So you can visit them. And the last time I was there, they were charging 36,000 for I think a month of training to become a professional coffee brewer. So if you're interested to venture into that area, just need to find out what is the current price and then take the classes. But I think it will be a worthy adventure if you can launch a coffee shop or a distribution channel, distribution factory for processing coffee locally.
And last but not least, when it comes to sourcing for farm produce, is it best to come on the ground, let's say like find a contact person who visits other people in their farm, or you wait for days when there is market?
So the best thing to do is build a relationship with the farmers, then have the person who now comes in for their visit. Or you can also be taking those process. But if you want to grow build systems, there is a person who handles the community building, trust building, a person who collects, a person who does quality assurance. The person who is dealing with the community building can also be doing quality assurance. So you can combine some of these roles into one. Because we are living in an age of digital technology, so we can use technology to do a lot of this stuff. So So an opportunity for guys in Rift Valley and for guys who are doing daily cattle. Guys in Rift Valley, you have a lot of land. Can you produce enough silage? For guys in Kiambu with 4 acres, 8, and they are having maybe 50 cows in that piece of land. That's an opportunity. Another opportunity for guys in Rift Valley, energy. Yeah, so there are crops that you can grow, like I've seen in Germany, that can be used in energy conversion. But of course there is the process. So if you have maybe 1,000 acres, or you can lease 1,000 acres at a very cheap price, you could as well venture into the energy business by growing crops that are able to produce energy, or that can convert into energy. Yeah. So that's an opportunity for guys who have 100 acres, 1,000 acres in Rift Valley, in UK. Coast, you also have big tracts of land. Yeah, here in Central, land is now very scarce, but those are opportunities that everyone can research about, venture in. Timber, sawdust. Guys who would want to produce energy as an alternative energy source. Sawdust can be converted into electricity. If there are machines, so you burn it, and then there is the way you convert that into electricity. So it can be an alternative energy production for guys who are experiencing shortage from Kenya Power, and especially big institutions that require energy, that are not looking for solar, not looking for wind. Yeah, all generators. You can research that, the equipment in the European market that can help you in achieving that. You just need to research, do proper documentation of the project that you're doing, fundraise for it, and if you're successful, implement and pilot. Yeah. So, and then cold storage is also another big opportunity, guys. You need to venture into. If you want logistics to be successful, think of cold stores as one of the key success factors for supplying goods with longer shelf life to the market. So cold store, you can be a person who just provide cold stores for aggregators in different areas. So you identify aggregators and where they are sourcing smaller holder farmers, then going and setting up a cold store in that area. Then the aggregator now pays you based on their storage type produce. Of course, logistic where you are.
Trucks or pickups that are refrigerated.
Yeah, exactly. Guys who are transporting fish, fresh produce to farmers. Yeah. Semen for cows, livestock. Incubation of semen centers. Yeah, those are opportunities that we all need to look at, research. If you see something interesting that you can pursue. Yeah. It seems like I've covered the whole menu through answering those questions. Have you discovered that? Because I shared the menus with you 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it pretty much covers it all.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like it, engaging in that model. You understand the menu, and then I understand. So how do I cover it when I'm answering a question, and how do I give as much details as possible so that I expand on every single detail that would be covered in the money. So now I'm like, just need to close my laptop. Yeah.
Are tuber crops any short term or mid term?
Depending. Like which one?
Like potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Those are short terms. Those are 3 months, 4 months, depending on the variety. 6 months at most. I don't know. 6 months is even long. 4 months. Yeah.
Sweet potatoes.
Those ones, even those ones, if you feed them right. Yeah. They tend to grow really fast because it's under the soil. Unless you have things that like the hookers. What do you call moles? Yeah, we call it hooker. Yeah, so moles, if they are not being affected by moles, then you're okay.
And they can grow in any climate. So
no, depending with if your soil testing. I'll still come back to the soil testing. If you do your soil testing and they tell you can do tuber crops, go for them. Yeah.
Also, once you do your soil testing, it also determines the type of fertilizer you can use on that specific soil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it depends with your location. No, depends with the location. For example, here you see a lot of Mufariti, this type of the one back there, behind there. See that variety because most of the time it doesn't affect the amount of water that trees are able to consume and compete with other plants. But there is another variety. I don't know whether I can see it around. I think I'll show you on the road. Is it eucalyptus? Drains a lot of water from the soil, so makes the whole area dry. So those ones I can't recommend you. Yeah, but where you come from, find out which is the best tree that works very well without drying a lot of water around the area. Then we can plant those ones on the edges. So if you have 5 acres, you can do at the edge, in the mid-room, and then another one at the end. So you have a line like that, a line like that, a line like that, for preventing the wind. Yeah. So yeah.
The thing that you mentioned is when it comes to markets. Let's say like right now, at least you mentioned here someone can sell to a neighbor, and like something that can move. But what really entails when it comes to market? Like in this area, which day is the day when people take all their things to the market?
So Tuesday, but there are different markets surrounding this area. So there is a market from where we veer off the main road. There is a market that I was telling Lydia used to take milk. It's about 5 kilometers from here. But you go, there is the main road or there is a shortcut here, straightforward. But the shortcut now means hills, climbing, decline, which if you opt to, then you'll be able to go. So they have days. So the beauty of the local markets, there was a system in the early days. So if it was on a Monday, in Kandara, it's always on a Monday. Whether it's Christmas, whether it's a working day. If it's on a Tuesday, they will be there on a Tuesday, like the one we left there. So they usually have different market days. Yeah. Guys, something interesting in the drone industry. If you come from like Lydia, I would recommend you take drone classes. Yeah, flying drones, getting that RPL. Because for you, your parents or your neighbors might be having above 100 acres and above, and they might be interested in someone who can spray their land within 4 to 5 hours and they are done, or even an hour they are done spraying. Like if they are tackling armyworm, you can do 1,000 acres in a day. You see? In hours, because you have a drone. So I would advise you, it's about 120 or 110,000. Take the drone classes. The agricultural drone is able to map out diseases. If it is, I fly a drone above here, I will know every other disease that is in this surrounding. You can also partner with an agronomist. You map out that. An agronomist comes and advises the owner of the farms and recommends remedies. Yeah. So that's also another opportunity. I've actually last December, my birthday gift to myself was taking the drone classes. I got the RPL in December. So now, if I need to fly drones, I can do it for everyone. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the way I identify that as an opportunity and decided to award myself. So I can remember this transition to that property. Yeah. About 100 to 120. Yeah. 2 weeks. It's a real investment.
But
how many days a week?
5 days a week.
That's a lot of it.
That's a 10 day.
How long in a day? How long in a day?
How long in a day? To come for this training. I'm hopeful that you've learned something, that you're going to make some action and implement them, that you're going to try farming. So there is something that is very easy to try. So I want to challenge you, whichever cereals you take. If you take beans, if you take dengu inaitwaje na kizungu? Green grams. So just go buy a kilo from the supermarket, soak it in water for 24 hours, and then rinse the water, right? Then put in fresh water, or spray some fresh water on a tray that has some outlet on the bottom. So like the trays we used to sieve that have some holes on the bottom layer. So after 7 days, you'll be having a new set of 2 to 3 kgs of very sweet vegetables. They are called, I'm trying to find that name. I'll give you the name before we get back. So once you do that, every day you rinse or you spray some fresh water so that they're able to germinate. They remove the sprout, bean sprout. They actually call bean sprout. So you can check on YouTube how to prepare bean sprout. If possible, you can document the journey of preparing bean sprout from your kitchen, right? So that at the end of the week, you'll be celebrating having attended this. So next Saturday, if all of you can share pictures or videos of the stew that you prepare from bean sprout, whichever bean sprout you choose, I'll be so happy, because that will be your first simplest step to actually implement growing food for yourself with the space that you already have in your kitchen. Okay, so that's a challenge. How many are going to try that out? Yeah, bean sprout. Okay, so I'm expecting pictures of the bean sprout after soaking, day 3 and day 7 when they are ready for cooking, preparing
the green stuff.
Yeah.
Is sprout evil?
Yeah, they will just sprout. For a bean to sprout, they just need water and oxygen.
Hizo ndio unapika?
Yeah. Unapika stew mzuri. Unaweka mapochopocho yako.
Together with the beans or just the
whole thing? Everything. Yes. It will outgrow that bean because it's going to burst. So I had recommend you to try the green grams. It's the best because it has the smallest bean. Yeah. So try that out, and maybe next Saturday you could be eating some fresh
green gram sprouts.
Yeah, green gram sprout from your kitchen. Yeah. Then you can share your experience with that. Yeah?
Yes.
And if people like what you prepare, continue preparing more. So you can now have a stack of different bean sprout that you have in your kitchen, where you harvest when you need to harvest. Very clean, no chemical, just water and oxygen. Yeah, so that's my challenge for all of us. Try that out. Yeah, so thank you very much for coming, Alfani, Morten, Lydia, Mr. Jim, Titus, of course our photographer here who is doing an amazing job, Wanjiko, who's also prepared lunch, and Yvonne. So we can give them a clap actually for preparing lunch for us. Did you enjoy the lunch?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so they did a wonderful job. Of course, Mr. Jackson for hosting us. We're going to find out whether everyone will benefit from this in 7 days. So we'll definitely share a report of whether they are going to try that out. Yeah, so I would like now to take this opportunity to award the certificate officially to everyone who was able to come for the training, and hope this will be just something to remind you that you have a journey to walk. You can try it out. If you fail, it's okay. If you succeed, even better, right? So this is just a token of appreciation for you coming, and just to say thank you very much. So the first certificate goes to Mr. Morten Baggy. Yes, give him a clap. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, a picture, the home of runners. Asante sana. Kaflan, Kalfana, Kalfan, Makuta, right? Karibu sana. Yes. Yes. Young at heart.
Young at heart.
Yes. Asante sana. Thank you very much for coming. Yes. The chauffeur. The next person is one and only Teresia Wanjiko Onami. Yes, the guys, did you enjoy her driving skills? Is she a good driver?
Very good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Looking forward to. She's the youngest. She just graduated from high school last year. So this is Jackson Dongo. Young at heart. Yes. Okay. Asante sana. Guys, have you ever given your uncle a certificate? Ben. So he's the photographer. Just short it as what he's supposed to do.
Well, thank you, everybody, for contributing to a great day. It's been a learning experience. It's been fun. It's been rewarding for the certificate, especially. So yeah, thank you.
Painting. Yeah, paint the picture of the whole day, how it was since morning till now. Have you learned something?
Yeah.
What are you going to take home? What was your main takeaway for the day?
Okay, my main takeaway was the short-term vision. I think I'll really try my best to implement that. Yeah, and I really enjoyed my day.
Excellent.
Jumbo.
I say the experience today was phenomenal. The climate also says a lot. I have little to say, but I've gained some knowledge today. Thanks to Isaac for this organization today, and hope we can continue to do more and more in the future.
We will do. We'll invite everyone by the way. Next time we might be going to Nanyuki to learn from edible oil growing farm. Yeah.
Sunflower, avocado.
Especially edible. Yeah. I'll give the details once it's ready.
We'll be together.
Yes.
During this journey, we can learn more and more.
Yeah.
In the future.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Mine is also gratitude for a day well spent. It came like a surprise. You told me about 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah, so I had to really. I told you yes, I will. But I wasn't sure.
You just said yes.
Something was pulling me.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful. I learned so much. Also about maybe concentrating on short-term crops so that you grow by stages instead of concentrating on the next. Mostly get disappointed. I loved it. Thank you so much. Do more and more.
I will. Yes. We shall.
Hi everyone. I was 2 years old when I knew Hoho is called capsicum. I didn't know that. I'm grateful. I feel so impacted. And Isaac, thank you. You've gone over and beyond. Reflected the certificates, hosting us, food, taking us around. And like you've shown true generosity and what you mean by just wanting to teach others on your skills and everything. Biggest takeout for me today was it's very simple, but there's a lot that can happen, especially from the short-term plans. the coffee factory, and the little things that you can do with your own piece of land. And then the idea of partitioning, like what you've done, this section, that section, there's partitioning, mind-blowing, and so impacted and encouraged and empowered, and thank you so much. And also for meeting each and everyone, and I think atasema tufungue WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group, yeah?
Whenever I stand, I normally I go blank. I don't know why, but words just disappear. Interesting. Anyway, it's been a pleasure for me. I learned a lot, but then while you were here, we were cooking, so we would want the notes. I hope you will send us. Yes, so
the video.
Yes, the video. Any information that you guys discussed here when we were there. Otherwise, it was fun. It was nice meeting all of you. Nah, I wouldn't mind to be coming to this. So you keep organizing.
I will.
Santeni, we go back. Tuende salama na kila mtu akwe sawa. Na tupatane maandamano. Tuesday na Thursday tupatane Nairobi town to reject.
So reject.
Okay.
Divorce.
I'm grateful to God for the day. What I can say, I've learned a lot. It's a pleasure meeting all of you, and I'm so grateful for him for the big impact. By the way, amejaribu kabisa. So he's my big brother. Yeah, thank you.
Isaac, do you want to? Okay, so closing remarks from our host. Namba Kiswahili.
Wambere nini ngatho nyingĩ mũno ingĩcokia nĩ gũcera gũkũ gwitũ na mũgoka na tũgathoma ithuothe twathoma. Ndĩ mũkenu mũno na hĩndĩ ĩrĩa kumĩra na kũu barabara-inĩ tũroria andũ acio nĩ andũ a mũthemba ũrĩkũ nĩkĩ marenda, no ngakĩmwĩra he ũrĩmi ma gũkũ naguo tũthiĩte na mbere kamauga tũnyitĩrĩire tũgerie kũmĩkana. Ngwĩciria okorwo nĩ mwena ũguo mũgũnda ũcio ria nĩtũrakoretwo na mathĩna maingĩ mũno ma mbura, ĩgakorwo ĩ nyingĩ cũkio na igũrũ crop iria tũrageragia gũkũria gateng'eri no tũrakĩra kaini wega tondũ twagĩkorera kĩrĩa twakorera. Ngwĩciria next time nĩtũkũgeria mũno no gũkorwo twagĩthoma gĩthomo kĩingĩ kĩa ũrĩa twagĩire nake na mũno nginya nĩtũgĩa na certificate ĩno na mũigue mwĩ karibu sana. Mwathi mwĩmana.
So I'll just do a small interpretation of a summary of his closing remark. He's very grateful for everyone who was able to come to the training, and he was excited to host everyone who came. Friends out there are asking, what are these guys trying to do? And he was explaining that the project he's been working on is what they are learning and what they are trying to understand how to empower themselves in farming. Then he also mentioned the issue of excessive rainfall. We had floods and a lot of rainfall beyond what we used to. That really affected some of the crops, and some were lost, some survived, and what has survived is what you can see. But they are hopeful that they'll be able to do better as time goes by. Yeah. So he's very grateful and thank you, and welcoming you for another time. Yeah. Asante. So I would request he also prays for us. You know, when your father is there, he gives you blessing as you go back to the city. Yeah. So we can stand and pray. And then we have some farm gifts that we are going to carry back to our homes. So I hope everyone will be able to accept the small gift that we've organized from Crash.
Either itu twakwira rimwe kebaba kaitha itu kiria gĩothe tũgũkorwo twagaga mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ baba witũ tũikorwo tũkĩgĩa meciria-inĩ maitũ athiĩ na mbere gũtũũkĩra meciria kaitha witũ reke ona okorwo andũ megũcoka kuma gaba reke ithe itũ tũcoke gũtwara nao kaitha witũ nĩgetha o mũndũ harĩa kumĩte baba acoke ekĩra andũ makana rĩu kaitha itũ na ithuĩ tũgũtiga baba kaitha itũ tũmenya either it took one
Amen. Thank you very much. The training is officially closed. So we can take a final picture from this angle and then